her first little boy was, maybe 2 months old, and he looked like he was about to die.
What if I told you that there's an ancient product, one that humans have been drinking for literally thousands of years, that has scientific proof of building muscle and bone, healing skin, aiding in weight loss, supporting gut health, and is loaded with the vitamins and minerals that humans need to live healthy lives? The true nectar of the gods, that after water itself is the most optimal drink that you can have in terms of fat structure, nutrient profile, and probiotics. It's raw milk. Raw, unpasteurized, unhomogenized milk. In this video, I'll tell you why. And I interview a farmer that shares the detriments of processed milk and even shares a story you won't want to miss about raw milk saving someone's life. If you're still drinking store-bought milk or processed milk, stick around to the end of the video where I tell you how to get raw milk in your own hands so you can experience the benefits for yourself or for your family. So why should you, a health-conscious viewer, drink this stuff? You're going to love this. Let's start with its nutritional profile. Raw milk is full of vitamin A, D, E, vitamin K2, vitamin C, all the B vitamins, especially vitamins B2, B6, and B12, and minerals like calcium, phosphorus, zinc, sodium, and iodine, as well as all the essential trace minerals. These vitamins and minerals are crucial for a lot of bodily processes, but let me just explain a few of my favorites. Hormone regulation, which means sex hormone production like testosterone and estrogen, healthier metabolism, energy levels, growth and development, and response to stress. Going on to immune support to keep you from getting sick, and digestive health for converting the food that you eat into energy for your body and mind. If you're someone who takes vitamins and minerals every day in pill form, that's great. I'm proud of you for taking your health into your own hands. But the food that you eat that contains these vitamins and minerals will always be much more bioavailable than the pills and minerals that you might have by themselves. The nutrients in raw milk are no exception. Moreover, raw milk actually supplies the enzymes needed to absorb all of these nutrients into our body, something that pasteurized milk does not have, because in short, pasteurization is the heating up of milk to high temperatures to kill the biome of the milk. If you're still not convinced of this stuff, let me read a few studies from 2007 and 2011 that blew my mind. Consuming raw milk and thus its microorganisms can contribute to health by aiding in digestion or by reducing the frequency of allergies, including asthma and atopic diseases in individuals who consume raw milk during the early years of their life. Meaning, if you give your kids raw milk, they are less likely to have asthma or other conditions growing up. What else does that? I know your Benadryl doesn't do that. When you come at it from a biological and evolutionary perspective, it really becomes quite clear. Raw milk from a mammalian mother is the only thing that a baby has for months, sometimes years on end. So it's a complete food source because it has to be. It is growth promoting and has to contain everything needed to grow and support life, as that is what it does and has done for millions of years. In fact, there's actually ample evidence from a study in 2007 that shows that there was milk exploitation in early humans in Neolithic societies as far back as 10,000 BCE. This statement shows that raw dairy was an important part of our ancestors' diets and that the domestication of dairy-producing animals was an important part of our survival as a species. For 10,000 years, raw milk has provided a source of nourishment, gut health, and immune boosting to humankind. At this point, I think it's important we understand what pasteurization is and why you should care. When you get raw milk, the only thing that has been done to it is it has been filtered, which is basically just to make sure that no hard parts are in your milk. When you receive milk from the stores like Walmart, it arrives at an industrial dairy. It's then heated up to very high temperatures, usually around 145, 165 degrees Fahrenheit for a certain amount of time, depending on that specific dairy. And this process kills the natural biome or environment of bacteria within the milk, which sounds good. But what that is actually doing is destroying the enzymes and proteins that actually help you digest the milk, as well as the good bacteria that is so important for our gut health as humans. What you're left with is biologically dead milk that has lost so many of its original benefits. Don't believe me? Listen to what Michael Gubert has to say, a dairy farmer that's been fighting to loosen regulations in his state for over a decade.
Well, pasteurized milk it does damage the milk because it basically kills every living thing in there. So all the beneficial bacteria and enzymes that are in the milk, are going to be sterilized and it's just making a dead product instead of a living food.
Right.
So you're not going to get really any of those benefits to your gut health
Homogenization is another process often performed to raw milk. And what this is, in essence, is the raw milk is pushed through very, very, very tiny holes at extremely high pressure. And this basically breaks apart the fat molecules into very small pieces. And the fat particles are what naturally causes the separation within raw milk. So this actually doesn't seem like too invasive of a procedure, right? You're wrong. And I was wrong too. This can actually be much more damaging to the milk and to the digestive process within our body than pasteurization is. Here's Michael's take on it.
So when they push the cow milk through these plates, it kind of breaks all that down and makes the fat molecules into smaller particles so they don't separate out so much. But what that does, especially to the cholesterol molecules and the fat molecules, it allows them to be oxidized because now they're not a whole molecule anymore, and they have some bonds that can be filled in by oxygen. And particularly the cholesterol. So the cholesterol that's in milk, like most, well-raised animal products is actually good for you. I mean, cholesterol has been another thing that's been very highly demonized and misunderstood for a long time. But yeah, I mean, it's so important to almost every process in our body. But when you kind of break those molecules apart and they oxidize, oxidized cholesterol is really bad for you. And, so homogenized milk, you'd be better off just drinking water.
And at this point, if you are somewhat intelligent, you're probably wondering, why was pasteurization even started in the first place if raw milk is so much better for us? So pasteurization started at the turn of the 20th century when dairies were starting to be moved into big cities just like humans were. And as one would expect, when you move pasture-raised animals like cows or goats into a factory or a city setting, their health did not prosper, especially considering the fact that the water they were drinking was tainted, it was not fresh or clean, and the food that they were being fed was spent grain from nearby distilleries. So they weren't eating grass or hay as cows or dairy producing animals would usually do. It was spent grain, and that was seriously affecting their health and the milk that they then put out. So this resulted in the cows becoming very unhealthy, and the milk that they were producing was actually transparent in nature. And the dairy workers would actually add chalk into this milk to make it look more like actual milk, but it really wasn't anything of the sort. Soon enough, these poorly raised cows would actually develop tuberculosis from living in these city dairies, and that actually spread to the consumers of this raw milk, and wasn't good. So this is actually what sparked the move towards pasteurization. So in essence, pasteurization is a technological solution to a man-made problem. Just leave the cows in the fields. This history shows more than anything how important it is to know where the food and food products you are eating comes from, and making sure that it comes from a good farm, good source, raised by true, honest farmers. A concept considered rare in the 21st century. From the words of raw milk advocates Mark McAfee and Sarah Smith, when 125 years of commercial milk pasteurization are compared to the long history of highly successful raw milk consumption, they do not even register as a blip. Pasteurized milk makes up only 1% of the 10,000 years of documented human milk consumption. So with all of this raw milk consumption in our human history, why is it so common nowadays to find people that are lactose intolerant? Well, luckily for me and millions of other people across the globe, we probably aren't lactose intolerant. Let me explain. In the olden days, milk was produced from native Gur cow breeds, which is genetically speaking an A2 species and thus produced A2 genetic milk. Both increasing demand for milk worldwide, crossbreeding became very common in the dairy industry to increase milk production within these cows, as well as to turn higher profits. This gave birth to new crossbreeds of cows and thus created a genetically altered form of milk, which is known as A1 milk. Most of the milk sold worldwide is actually procured from these A1 cow breeds, which makes it very difficult for us humans, A2 species, to consume and digest this milk. Thus, people having upset stomachs and believing that they're lactose intolerant when they really aren't. I thought I was lactose intolerant my whole life until I started drinking goat's milk, and now I can down a half gallon a day with no problem. So how do you get your hands on this stuff? If you've already checked out your local farmer's market and you haven't found anything, then I would suggest checking out realmilk.com. This is a website that finds the closest supply of raw milk in your area. State laws do vary with what is allowed to be sold, but if there's a will, there's always a way. If you'd like to learn about some incredible cases of raw milk curing diseases, then I would check out The Milk Cure by Dr. J.R. Crew. Absolutely incredible findings that he had back in the early 1900s that I would highly suggest reading if you're interested in it.
Now, we've had customers who have come to us who have, babies that were failing to thrive, either because the mother wasn't producing enough milk or the baby wasn't digesting it properly. And we have this one customer who had both her boys were in that situation. And like the first time we met her, her first little boy was, maybe 2 months old, and he looked like he was about to die.
Oh my goodness.
Just super skinny. And basically, he'd been drinking our milk ever since, and he's now 8 or 9 years old, and he's at the 99th percentile for his size at his age.
Oh my goodness.
He's like a little linebacker. He's enormous. And his brother was just the same.
I hope you're leaving this video with a better understanding of raw milk so that you can use it to help support your health and wellness for the rest of your life. If you found this video enjoyable or educational, please leave the video a thumbs up, as it would really help spread the video to other people. To learn about fitness and training in ancient Greece, check out my previous video, and my next video will be about the benefits of breathing through your nose, or nose breathing. Thank you all so much for watching and for staying to the end of the video. I will see you on the next one. Peace. Damn, that's good. It's like drinking nature's milkshake. Shout out Shellbark Farms, my boy Pete. I love you.